Hello, I am Jamper, and I'm going to be talking about the top 50 players in Smash Ultimate right now. Lumirank has taken over the mantle of ranking the top players and having a sort of official, unofficial kind of ranking for Smash Ultimate. Yeah, let's just get into it. So, and for 50th place, we have Atorie. He's a Wolf and Pokemon Trainer player. These are the super major placements, by the way. You see these top ones up here. And then on the right, you can see that those are the other notable tournament placements. As you can see, he's gotten a lot of like decent placements. You can see he's a 49th and a 33rd at a major and a few 25ths. But to be honest, having a lot of those like decently high placements still kind of adds up. And he has like one first at a B tier and a second at a B plus tier. So yeah, overall it's like pretty good. It makes sense why he's top 50. We have Rizasu, who's known for his random. He's a Japanese player known for his random. Quid, another Pokemon Trainer player. Funny enough, Pokemon Trainer used to be a really, really meta-relevant character at the beginning of the game, but definitely fell off. Next we got Luigi, who I've heard a lot about, but I haven't actually seen much. He's a Luigi player, and you don't see much of those anymore. Takara, I haven't actually heard much from Takara. There's a lot of Japanese players that kind of, you know, pop off in Japan but don't travel much. And because they don't travel much, it's like hard to see them. Like you can kind of see that all the super majors he's won are Japanese super majors. 45th we got Jackal, who has a crazy win on MKLeo, which is kind of, I think, what Spyro... Oh, and he has a win on Spargo too. Oh my gosh. Next we got Tsubaki. I can imagine his wins is what pushed him over the edge with the win on Mia. Doramigi, another showing of how crazy Japan really is to be able to get on these sort of lists. Next we got Lima, who had like a point in time where he was like clearly top 20. You can see like sort of a trend that a lot of these placements here are like people who just have gotten really, really good wins. And those good wins can really skyrocket you. We got Chase. Chase has always kind of made some sort of like an impression every single time he's gone to things, and it definitely makes sense as to why he's 41st. But yeah, so let's move on to the top 40. First off, we got Umeki. Umeki has been known for a while now, not a new player, definitely been here for a while, from Japan. The Daisy player from Japan who played Daisy since the game came out and has consistently been within the top 50, always kind of sneaking around like somewhere between 20th to the 40th. We got Masha, another Japanese player. A lot of Japanese players sneak under the radar and do really well at these Kaguribis, these Maizuma tops. And also what's kind of crazy is you may notice, if you look in the top left of the screen right now, you can see how it says free agent. A lot of these players are free agents, which is kind of crazy to think, like unsponsored players making it this high, especially this many of them. It's pretty impressive that they're able to do so without any backing. But yeah, you can see his wins, definitely impressive from his wins. You can see with like Gact, Kamimi, and Atorie, and Umeki as well. But yeah, let's continue. Apollo Kage, one of my favorite players, easily one of my favorite players. I always cheer for Apollo Kage when I see him on screen. Easily one of my favorite players. His showing at Summit, where he literally beat MKLeo, was one of the coolest sets of all time, and it was really fun to watch. So we got MK Big Boss, which is, you know, MKLeo's like #1 doubles partner. But because of that, clearly Big Boss gets crazy good practice, getting wins on Sonics, Skyjay, Kurama, and Siski. Alright, well, next we got Hikaru. Apparently he switched to Sora, and he's had very good results with Sora, with overall pretty high placements. I mentioned his wins carry him with the win on Mia. Yeah, I feel like if you get a Mia win, a Spargo win, or a Cola win, a Sonics, Tweak, or Leo win, or Light. I know it's a long list, but if you get any of those, then you have a really, really good shot of getting top 50. And I think that's what happened here. We got Jagaimo. It's another player that doesn't go international and just does crazy in Japan. Next we got Mars, who is one placement off from the meme of being 33rd last rankings, and then this rankings, he's definitely started to fall off quite a bit. But with this ranking, he is way higher than he was before. Next, we got Neo, who I've only heard about just recently. Another Japanese player. That's overall pretty good results. You can see he's 5th at Misuma Top. I think that's kind of what's taking him this high, and that 9th in the other Misuma Top. 2 33rds is not horrible, especially since a lot of the really high placements have gotten a couple 33rds, or 1 or 2 33rds. So it's not too bad. I also think his wins on people who are not within the top 50 also helped him quite a bit. That being said, let's move on to Ouch. Does that say 7 wins on Big D? Wait, really? I mean, I know they're both from Canada, but like, oh my gosh. Are they like friends? And Big D is like, Ouch just gotta get on this ranking. But yeah, I guess his 9th at Genesis is 9 is very, very, very good. Anyway, next we got Hero, who I just heard of last rankings whenever we found out that Hero was going insane in Japan, and I just didn't know that this was happening. But yeah, I do know Hero now. Everyone thought Bowser fell off as a character, but Hero has pulled Bowser from like the depths of hell and take him into the modern day meta, where a lot of super heavies are definitely stuffed out, except for one, and we'll get to him later. He's my favorite player of all time, so I'm gonna gush about him when we get there. Alright, next we got Onin. So Onin is somebody who easily was top 10 for a little bit, and right now SmashCon is happening, which is one of the biggest tournaments for Smash Ultimate every single year, up there for the biggest. It's either that or Genesis are the 2 biggest tournaments every year for Smash Ultimate. And Onin won the last SmashCon with a crazy breakout performance. And Onin was like not very known at the time, but now Onin's like known by everybody and a very, very widely known player now that came out of nowhere. Now we got Big D, who seems to be, you know, a big connoisseur of Ouch, wanting to get on the rankings, losing to him 7 times. But no, Big D is easily one of my favorite players. Even though it's technically not a P tier, which is Ultimate Summit 7, Big D went on the craziest run of like a lifetime. Like the top 2 players that tournament, like 1st and 2nd, were like, I think are like 1st and 2nd in the world right now. And Big D, of all people, got 3rd. Next we got Siski, who always consistently seems to do well. He plays Samus, and he is very, very good. Siski's definitely been one of the most consistent players throughout the last couple rankings or so, and he always seems to get like good results and good wins, no matter the season. As you can see, this time he got 2 wins on Gluto. He's got a win on Kurama, win on Riddles, win on Yoshidora, which is pretty big. And also, Riddles is also a huge win as well. And Apollo Kage. And yeah, Siski always consistently seems to do well. 9th at Battle of BC is pretty huge considering how big that tournament was. And he has no like crazy notable bad placements. Collision, 33rd at Collision is like fine considering how hard that tournament was. But either way, very, very impressive. To be expected though from someone like Siski. A very, very good player. Next we got Dio, who I have heard of. I haven't seen too much of him, but I've heard a lot about him. Riddles actually flew to Japan, and when he did, he must have lost it to Dio, as you can see one of his wins here, which is very interesting. Next we got Bloom Forever, who a lot of people actually thought would be even higher than this. And what's really interesting is look at his Super Major placements. He hasn't been to a single Super Major. If Bloom went to any Super Major, I think Bloom Forever would easily be top 20 in the world. And I do think that this ranking is a little bit, has a panel to it. So they will plus and minus players depending on, you know, how, like, I wouldn't say public perception, but, like, kind of understanding of how the game is going, about nuances, to kind of account for that sort of thing. And if I were to guess, I think Bloom Forever was actually raised a little bit, because he hasn't been to, like, any Super Majors, but everyone in the world knows just how like strong of a threat he is. Next we got Jogabu, a Japanese player I didn't know, but I have heard of. He's gotten a lot of crazy good placements. You can see he's a couple firsts in B and B plus tiers, and 5th at a Misuma top is very impressive. Next we got the King of New York, DeBuzz. Everybody knows DeBuzz, literally one of the most known players in all of Smash, and dare I say, one of the most known players, in my opinion, of esports. And, you know, beloved by all, right? You know, you hate to watch him, but you love him as a dude, right? He plays a lot of campy characters, a lot of characters that are not fun to watch, but he's a great guy, just in real life. Everybody loves him. He's known as the King of New York for a reason. DeBuzz typically sits around, like, 12th, 13th on these sort of rankings, so this is actually a bit of a lower placement for him. But I do think that makes sense, considering just how competitive Smash is right now. Like, it is, like, honestly, I think that 30 is, like, the new top 15. Like, I seriously think so. Now we got my favorite player, SkyJ, who does it so well with the mid-tier, Incineroar, with the Super Heavy, like, a character that has, you know, historically never done well, ever. Next we got Gact. And Gact is one of the most notable Japanese players. I hear he's actually a pretty big content creator in Japan, and he's a very fun personality that people in Japan love to see. He's one of the few Japanese players that actually travel to America consistently. And speaking of Japanese players that travel to America consistently, we got Ken, who plays Sonic, does not play Ken. Ken had like a huge win last season, but you can see like his, you know, 2nd at Misuma top, 9th at this Misuma top, 5th at Kaguribi, which is huge, 13th at Crown. Honestly, that's not a bad placement. That's actually like really good, honestly. Let's move on to the top 20. Here we have Kurama, and I mentioned Kurama earlier. Kurama is a Mario player who kind of put Mario on the map. And Kurama many years ago had a crazy upset on the best player in the world throughout most of, you know, Ultimate's lifespan, which is MKLeo. And he had a crazy upset on MKLeo when at his absolute peak, beating him 3-0 at Frostbite. And ever since, everybody has always had, like, you know, a keen eye for him to see what he can do. And he's done a lot. He got 4th at Ultimate Summit, as you can see here. And ever since, he's also gotten 9th at Gamal and 7th at Crown, which is very impressive. Now we got Yara. Yara is a Japanese player that put his name on the map by upsetting Spargo with a crazy upset. The crazy upset actually happened this season, so you can see his Spargo win down here. And he also has 2 wins on Mia. I'm surprised he's not higher than this, honestly. Next we got Meister, who has always been a really, really good player throughout most of Ultimate. He had his breakout performance about like in 2019, where he started becoming like really good, and he got 6th in the world. Meister actually has the Luminosity sponsor, which is the people who made this ranking. Alright, next we got Zachary, the kid who just dominated the world at the beginning of Ultimate. Had a huge break that basically people forgot who he was, and then came back and then showed that he can still win even after switching to Pokemon Unite and then coming back to Ultimate. Fun fact about Zachary was supposed to be in the finals of Pokemon Unite, but his teammates slept on him, like slept through the event, and because of that, he couldn't be in the finals. And he's laughed about it ever since, but because of it, he has switched back to Ultimate. Here we got Mudace, who has kind of had one of the craziest seasons. Mudace actually beat Akola, and he also beat MKLeo, and he beat Spargo, and he beat Light. But what's crazy about Mudace is Mudace had a clear path to top 10, but in the past, like, few results, he's been really, really hit hard. At Ultimate Summit, he got 9th, and keep in mind, that's a 16-person invitational, so he got 2nd last, which is, again, not horrible. Like, 9th is not a bad placement, but Mudace was one of the people that, like, if you said he could win the tournament, then, like, people would have been like, I could see it, like, you know, right? He clearly can tussle with the, you know, the best of them, right? But, like, his 65th at Mizuma top and then 97th at Kaguribi. It's just rough when it adds up together. His most notable placement though is definitely Genesis 9, and that was very fun to watch. All right, now we got Ashimo, and we've talked a little bit about Ashimo. Ashimo is on a lot of people's wins and kind of elevated them quite a bit, but as you can see, Ashimo attends a decent bit, but he's also gotten a lot of like high placements. You can see he's second at Kaguribi, 4th at Mizuma top, 5th at Mizuma top, 13th at Mizuma top, right? A lot of very, very impressive stuff. These are all people we've not talked about yet, and we are on top 15. These are all top 15 wins. Very, very impressive. Team has consistently been like top 5, top 6, top 7 throughout pretty much all of Ultimate, but not to keep like being a broken record here, 18th is the new 6th. Like, to be the best of the best, you really, really have to be the best of the best. Now we got Zomba, who is a bit of a troll on Twitter, but Zomba had a whole little beef session with MK Leo, and they had a back and forth, which is very, very interesting. Zomba actually upset Leo. Then they had like a salt box where like they like had a salty run back online, and Leo won, and then they fought in person again, and Zomba won again. And because of that, and then his placements afterwards, he's really, really shown his prowess. But his most notable win was Crown, being a crazy tournament to win, but Zomba was able to do it. Now we got Kameme, and we mentioned Kameme a little bit, but Kameme is a Sora player, and honestly, now that we've gone through all these, you might start to recognize a couple of these names from the top 50 wins. Kameme is somebody that might fall under the radar, but like actually is like crazy good at the game. Like Kameme might even be top 10. Like he was almost top 10. Some people even think he is. And it's very, very impressive. Now we have Gluto, which is crazy to see someone like Gluto outside of the top 10. But yes, Gluttony is outside of the top 10 this season, and it is very, very crazy to see. But of course, he's still Gluttony, so he's gonna be top 11 at the very least, with 2 wins on Tweak, 3 on Siski, 2 on Mars, 1 on Leo, 2 on Light, 1 on Neo, 1 on Mudace, and 1 on Bloom Forever. We're getting to the point where tournament results that would be impressive for other placements are not as impressive as they would be otherwise. But despite all of that, getting 5th at Genesis 9 and getting 9th at Battle BC and getting 5th in that top left tournament there definitely shows that Gluttony is the real deal. And I've been trying not to comment on it ever since I found out these are losses, but he has no sub top 50 losses, which is very impressive. But now, it is time for the top 10. I honestly think that if you have a win on any of these players, like, that'll solidify you within the top 50. At 10th, we have Yoshidora. Yoshidora is a Japanese player that kind of rose with a cola and showed the world that somehow you can do this much with Yoshi. A character that we never see from anybody else. Now we got Shuton. Now I mentioned Shuton a couple times, and you may have seen a couple different icons of the character Shuton play, but Shuton plays Olimar, and he also plays Pyramithra. And Pyramithra has been doing wonders for Shuton, it seems. Now we got Riddles, who for a little bit now has been consistently within the top 10. Very consistently within the top 10. Got the Liquid sponsorship. And has shown what he can do with Kazuya, shown what he can do with Terry, and always kind of mainstay when it comes to the top players. The player who was undefeated in terms of being top 2 in every single tournament he ever entered. I don't think you understand how much of an MK Leo had a chokehold on the scene. MK Leo had literally never placed outside of the top 2 in any tournament he'd entered since the beginning of the game for so long, for the vast majority of the game's lifespan. So much so that, like, every time Leo was there, it was like the people that bet was like Leo versus the field. It was always, would Leo win this tournament or would he not win this tournament? Like, that was like, it's like, and who could beat Leo? Who would be on the elusive list of people who would actually beat Leo? Leo would always place first or second at every tournament he entered. He was known as the reverse 3-0 king, literally winning 90% of the time whenever he's down 2-0. He also won EVO 2019, which is the biggest Smash tournament that ever happened. But this season has been so rough for him. We got Light, who is easily up there for one of the most fun players to watch. He's part of Moist Esports, one of the most popular sponsors, easily. Light has really shown within the past couple of years that he really, really is a mainstay for the top 5 to 6 echelon. Now we got Tweak, who is up there, besides Leo, probably number 2 for the biggest mainstay when it comes to Ultimate. Tweak does tend to lose to, like, some of the craziest people. Like, he actually lost to, as you can see right here, this person is someone who runs a joke account on Twitter called Big Duck Hunt Fan 7000. He actually lost to him in tournament. So Tweak's no stranger to crazy losses, but he's also no stranger to crazy wins, with 3 wins on Light, 2 on Spargo, 2 on Riddles, 1 on Leo, 1 on Meister, 1 on Kurama, 1 on Gluto, and 1 on Dabuz. I mean, they call Dabuz the king of New York, but Tweak is definitely the prince. Now we got Sonics. No surprise to see him this high. Sonics' wins, they speak for themselves, with 3 on Zamba, 2 on Spargo, 1 on Riddles, 3 on Leo, 1 on Dabuz, 2 on Gluto, 1 on Kurama, and 1 on Light. We've said him a few times. Mia. Mia is a Game & Watch player who has been winning everything in Japan. 10 Ajimo wins. We got 2 on Zamba, 2 on Yoshidora, 2 on Yara, 4 on Shuton, 3 on Riddles, 2 on Kameme, and 1 on Akola. Second place is Spargo. Spargo and Akola, the difference between their placement, apparently, is by literal... I'm going to show it here. See the 100? 98.51. A point and a half difference between these two. Spargo has gotten unbelievable wins, with a crazy record on Akola, by the way. 5 wins on the best player. A win on Light, a win on Mia, apparently guaranteed him there. 2 wins on Leo, a win on Riddles, 2 on Sonics, 1 on Tweak, and 1 on Yoshidora. All his wins that are mentioned here, he has a lot more wins than just this, but all the wins mentioned here are within the top 10, which is worth noting. Very, very interesting. Spargo has gotten so good over the past few years. He's been showing that he can be the one that surpasses MK Leo. He's kind of like MK Leo's little brother. They're both Mexican, and MK Leo predicted like a year or 2 ago that Spargo was going to be the next thing. Like, Spargo was going to be the next him. And I think Spargo knew that, because Spargo has definitely proved that to the world. But either way, let's talk about the GOAT of Ultimate, the best player in the world right now, and his name is Akola. I think his wins speak for himself. You can see his wins and just see why he's the best player in the world. Look at this. First at Maisuma top. First at Kagurabi. First at this top left tournament here. There's not a single tournament that has double digits. Not to mention a single 9th. All of this is top 8. He's carrying like the Leo streak with these results. All of these are first, by the way, right here. I think it's very clear that Akola is the best player in the world right now. And Akola has shown it time and time again, especially last season and especially this season as well. But it's important to note that Spargo and Akola's placements were basically different by nothing. And it's really, really, really impressive to see how these two have pushed Ultimate to new heights. But with that all being said, that's my look of the Lumirank mid-year, and I'm very excited about it. I'm really excited to see where this will go in the future. A lot of surprising placements. I hope I wasn't too rambly, but thank you to anybody who's watching. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Jamper says goodbye.